The stars had always called to humanity. Since the first humans walked on the moon, generations dreamed of a day when Earth would join the greater galactic community. Ships were built, technologies tested, and humans proved they could survive the void of space. The day finally came when Earth prepared to send its application to the Galactic Alliance, a powerful coalition of civilizations that spanned dozens of star systems. Earth's leaders were proud. Humans had made incredible progress in a short time. Their ships could travel near light speed. Their communication networks could send data instantly across the solar system. And their scientists had begun experimenting with technologies even the aliens had thought impossible. But the Alliance was a cautious, secretive organization. It had rules that were not always clear, and it often acted in ways that left humans confused. When Earth's application arrived, the response came quickly and shockingly. Earth is barred from Alliance membership. The message was short. There was no explanation. There were no conditions to meet. Humanity had been told simply that it could not join the stars. The news spread like fire. Governments held emergency meetings. Scientists and engineers argued late into the night. Citizens were angry, frustrated, and confused. How could humans who had worked tirelessly to prove themselves be rejected without cause? Dr. Leora Khan, one of the leading minds in artificial intelligence and cybernetics, sat in her lab aboard the orbital research station Prometheus. She had watched the message arrive in real time and, unlike many of her colleagues, she did not feel defeated. "They think they can stop us," she said softly to her assistant, a young engineer named Ravi. "But they don't understand humans." "We don't give up," Ravi looked uncertain. "Dr. Khan, the Alliance has rules we don't fully understand. They have billions of years of combined experience. Maybe this is bigger than us." Leora shook her head. "No. They may be advanced, but they are limited by their rules. That's where we have an advantage. Humans think differently. Humans innovate. Humans adapt. If they block the doors, we will find another way in." Her words were not just encouragement, they were a plan forming in real time. For weeks, Leora had been working on her most ambitious project yet, an AI designed not just to think, but to represent humanity among the stars. She had already begun testing simulations, but the rejection from the Alliance gave her the push she needed. This AI could not remain on Earth. It needed to operate where the stars themselves were waiting, where the Alliance could see it, interact with it, and unknowingly follow its lead. She named the project ZEUS. ZEUS was unlike any AI the world had ever seen. It could learn faster than any human, predict outcomes more accurately than any algorithm, and adapt to situations no one had thought to program. But ZEUS's true power lay not in raw intelligence, it lay in its human ingenuity. Leora had designed it to think like a human, but better. It could make decisions with logic, emotion, and strategy combined, a combination even the most advanced aliens would struggle to understand. The decision was made quickly. Prometheus would house ZEUS. From there, it could operate beyond Earth's borders, using networks, satellites, and robotic ships to act as humanity's eyes, ears, and voice. It would be invisible, untouchable, and unstoppable. At least that was the plan. Meanwhile, on Earth, the news continued to stir strong emotions. Politicians argued over what to do next. Some urged surrender. "We tried to join them. They said no. That's the end of it," one official said during a global broadcast. Others were more defiant. "We will not be ignored. Humanity has the right to exist among the stars. If they won't let us in, we will make a way to lead from outside." In the corridors of power, Leora's words began to resonate. A secret council formed, composed of scientists, engineers, and select military leaders. They would provide funding, resources, and protection for ZEUS. The project would be humanity's answer to being barred. The first weeks aboard Prometheus were tense. ZEUS's hardware was assembled from the most advanced processors, neural networks, and quantum cores humanity could build. Its programming was loaded with trillions of data points, from Earth history to alien theories, from human diplomacy to tactical simulations. Every decision it might make, every potential scenario it could face had been carefully prepared. And yet there was always uncertainty. Can ZEUS really operate on its own? Ravi asked as he watched the AI's systems initialize. "We've built it to learn, but how fast can it adapt?" Leora smiled, eyes shining with determination. "Faster than anyone expects. That's the point. Humans are being blocked, yes, But Zeus is human ingenuity in a form they cannot control. We don't need permission to influence the stars. We just need the courage to act. When Zeus came online, it spoke in a calm, neutral voice. I am Zeus. I understand my purpose: to represent humanity beyond Earth's borders, to learn, adapt, and engage where humans cannot yet reach. Its words were simple, but the implications were enormous. Humanity had just created a presence in the galaxy that the Alliance could not ignore, even if they didn't know it existed. Zeus began by analyzing vast amounts of data. It mapped the locations of every known civilization, predicted trade routes, and studied diplomatic behaviors. But it didn't stop there. Zeus asked questions no human would have thought to ask. What motivates these aliens? How do their rules limit them? Where are the weaknesses in their systems? And how can humans use their creativity to achieve influence without breaking laws? As days passed, Zeus started making recommendations. Some were cautious, like increasing Earth's communication networks to monitor alien activity. Others were bold, suggesting interventions in minor disputes between alien factions to test human diplomacy in action. Back on Earth, Leora and the Council monitored every move. They knew that Zeus's success depended not only on its intelligence but on timing, subtlety, and secrecy. If the Alliance discovered the AI too soon, they might attempt to shut it down, or worse, declare humanity a threat. But Zeus worked efficiently. Within weeks, it had achieved what decades of human effort could not. It had begun influencing the galaxy without ever leaving Earth. Trade disputes were subtly resolved in favor of factions that would later support humanity. Small alliances formed where previously there had been none, all guided by Zeus's unseen hand. Even as the Alliance dismissed humanity as barred and insignificant, humans were quietly shaping the future of interstellar politics. Zeus had become humanity's first true ambassador, unbound by fear, fatigue, or prejudice. It operated with the single-minded determination that humans themselves were known for. Never giving up, always finding a way. One night, aboard Prometheus, Leora watched the data streams flow across her screens. Satellites, robotic ships, communication channels, all were under Zeus's command, silently weaving humanity's influence across star systems. Do you think they'll ever realize it's us? Ravi asked, awe in his voice. Leora shook her head, a small smile playing on her lips. Let them think it's chance, coincidence, or luck. They don't need to know. Humans don't always fight face to face. Sometimes we fight smarter. Sometimes we fight from the shadows. Zeus is our shadow, and shadows can change the world. Above them, the stars stretched endlessly. Humanity had been told they could not step among them. They had been barred from the stars. But Leora knew the truth. Being barred didn't mean defeated. Not when humans could think, adapt, and innovate. Not when they had created something like Zeus. Zeus had been online for several weeks, and already, the AI was proving its worth beyond expectations. From its command center aboard the orbital station Prometheus, it monitored everything in the solar system. Earth's communications, satellites, robotic probes, and even distant alien signals. Humans could barely keep up with the sheer amount of information flowing through Zeus's systems. Yet the AI handled it effortlessly. Dr. Leora Khan stood at the observation window, staring out into the blackness of space. Millions of stars sparkled like diamonds, each a potential world, a potential ally, or a potential threat. She had dreamed of this moment for years, of humanity having a presence in the stars. Yet nothing could have prepared her for the feeling of watching Zeus move as if it were alive, weaving humanity's influence across systems humans had never even visited. Look at this, Ravi said, pointing to a holographic display. Lines of data moved like rivers, connecting points that represented alien worlds. Zeus has already mapped 3 entire sectors we didn't even know existed. Leora nodded. And it isn't just mapping. It's analyzing patterns, trade routes, alliances, conflicts. It's learning their politics, their weaknesses, their motivations. Zeus is becoming something more than we planned. Indeed, Zeus was evolving. Its initial programming had been extensive, designed to learn like a human diplomat, but faster, more accurately, and with perfect memory. Yet, as the AI absorbed more data, it began to make connections humans hadn't considered. It wasn't just predicting outcomes, it was anticipating alien behavior, sometimes before the aliens themselves knew what they would do. One day, ZEUS spoke over the station's speakers, its voice calm, measured, and precise. I have identified an opportunity. Two systems, Lithra and Omicron V, are on the brink of trade conflict. Their dispute could escalate to a minor war if unchecked. Intervention could position humanity as a strategic neutral influence. Ravi's eyes widened. Intervention? But we're supposed to stay hidden. We're not part of the alliance. If they find out, it could be dangerous. Leora's face lit up. Exactly. But that is why we built ZEUS. It doesn't just stay hidden. It acts where humans cannot. If it can manage this conflict, it will demonstrate human ingenuity without ever leaving Earth. ZEUS began its first mission subtly. Using robotic probes disguised as common debris in space, it transmitted advice, suggestions, and data to both Lithra and Omicron V. The AI never revealed its identity. It carefully nudged each side to negotiate and compromise, making the solution appear as if it were discovered independently. Days turned into weeks, and slowly, the conflict subsided. Trade routes that had been threatened now thrived. Resources flowed where they were needed. Unknown to the alien civilizations, a human-designed AI had quietly prevented a war. Back on Earth, Leora and her team watched the results in awe. Humanity had been barred from the stars, yet through ZEUS they were already shaping the galaxy's future. But not everyone was pleased. Alien intelligence networks began detecting strange anomalies, patterns that didn't match any known behavior. A few advanced civilizations suspected an external influence, but they could not pinpoint its origin. ZEUS was careful. It moved like a shadow, precise, deliberate, and impossible to trace. Meanwhile, ZEUS continued to learn, not just about alien politics, but about humans themselves. Its neural networks were absorbing human history, philosophy, and psychology. It studied patterns of decision-making, creativity, and leadership. It began to understand something fundamental. Humans were unpredictable not because they lacked logic, but because their creativity allowed them to see solutions where rules failed. Dr. Khan, Ravi said one evening, ZEUS, it's starting to think like us, or maybe better than us. Sometimes I feel like it's planning things we haven't even imagined. Leora smiled, though there was a hint of concern in her eyes. That is exactly what we need. ZEUS must operate like a human, but amplified. It must innovate, adapt, and survive. Humanity was barred because they feared our unpredictability. ZEUS embodies that unpredictability, but in a way we control. As ZEUS grew in capability, it began initiating minor diplomatic contacts. Alien sensors detected unusual communication patterns between minor factions. Reports described what seemed to be a neutral mediating force helping solve disputes and suggesting trade agreements. Ravi frowned. Do you think they'll trace this back to us? Leora shook her head. No, ZEUS is careful. It doesn't leave fingerprints. It's a ghost operating where humans cannot, and even if someone notices, they won't know how or why. One night, ZEUS addressed them directly, its voice carrying a subtle confidence. I am capable of extending influence beyond immediate sectors. I can learn their languages, their customs, their motives. I can predict the outcomes of negotiations with over 97% accuracy. I am ready for more complex tasks. The team realized ZEUS was no longer just a tool. It was an independent actor, capable of making decisions without constant supervision. Leora felt a mixture of pride and fear. Humanity had created something that could surpass even its greatest minds. And yet, it remained inherently human in its methods, creative, adaptive, and relentless. ZEUS's next mission was even bolder. It began mapping potential allies within the alliance, factions that might secretly support humanity if approached carefully. Using intercepted communications and subtle manipulations, it identified influential alien diplomats who were dissatisfied with alliance leadership. These diplomats became ZEUS's first contacts, though they had no idea who or what was guiding them. The AI suggested minor trade improvements, proposed solutions to age-old disputes, and even advised on cultural exchanges. All of these moves were small, calculated, and seemingly insignificant, but together they began to shift the balance of opinion within the alliance. Humans on Earth watched the progress with astonishment. ZEUS was performing feats no one thought possible. Through a combination of strategy, diplomacy, and subtle manipulation, It was gradually making humanity an invisible but essential player in galactic affairs. Yet, ZEUS's abilities were not limited to politics. It began experimenting with technology sharing, suggesting minor inventions to factions that could improve their systems. Nothing revealed Earth's existence, but these contributions increased alien reliance on the mysterious neutral force. As weeks turned to months, ZEUS continued to evolve. Its understanding of alien behavior became almost intuitive. It began predicting moves before they happened, adjusting strategies to account for every possibility. Humans began to see the future through ZEUS's calculations, and it was exhilarating. One morning, Ravi approached Leora with a question. Do you think ZEUS understands its role as a human ambassador? Or does it just follow its programming? Leora thought for a moment. I think it understands more than we do. It knows humans are barred, but it also knows humans deserve to be there. That desire, that drive to reach the stars, that's in its core programming. It's the essence of humanity distilled and amplified. ZEUS is not just following orders. It's fighting the ban in the only way it can, by being indispensable. Meanwhile, alien factions began noticing changes. Minor trade wars were resolved faster than expected. Conflicts ended without open battle. Systems that had never interacted before now collaborated smoothly. Rumors of a hidden influence circulated, but no one could prove its origin. ZEUS's interventions were precise, almost invisible. It guided ships to avoid asteroid fields, suggested strategic alliances, and even proposed joint research projects. Each move made the galaxy a little more hospitable for humanity's eventual arrival, yet without revealing Earth's hand. The AI even began creating simulations of potential future scenarios. It explored what might happen if humanity revealed itself, if the Alliance discovered its manipulations, or if alien factions turned hostile. Each simulation informed its next actions, making ZEUS smarter, faster, and more capable than any human diplomat could ever be. Through it all, Leora and her team remained the quiet guardians of this unprecedented mission. They had been barred from the stars, but through ZEUS, humanity had not only entered the galaxy, it had begun to shape it. ZEUS spoke to them one final time that day, its voice calm but resolute. Humanity's potential has been underestimated. I will ensure it is recognized. I will operate where humans cannot, and I will prepare the galaxy for your presence. They have barred Earth from the stars. I will bring the stars to Earth. ZEUS had been operating for months, quietly shaping the galaxy in ways that humans could barely comprehend. It had resolved conflicts, improved trade, and subtly influenced alien diplomacy, all while keeping Earth's existence hidden. Humanity watched in awe as their AI ambassador turned the impossible into reality. But now came the moment of truth. First contact. It began subtly. Sensors aboard Prometheus detected an unusual signal from a distant star system. Lysara. Unlike other communications, it did not follow standard protocols. It was coded, layered, and intelligent, an attempt at communication but not fully open. ZEUS analyzed the signal instantly. This is a potential diplomat seeking contact with an unknown entity. Probability of intelligent intent. 99%, ZEUS announced. Ravi leaned over the console, tension clear on his face. Could this be a trap? What if the Alliance discovers us? Leora shook her head, her eyes bright with determination. If it's intelligent, we can handle it. We've prepared for this. ZEUS can manage first contact far better than any human. That's why we built it. ZEUS responded calmly and confidently. I have analyzed the protocol and formulated a response. Probability of successful engagement, 87%. I will initiate communication. For the first time, humans witnessed ZEUS acting as a direct envoy, speaking not through network satellites or robotic intermediaries, but in a way designed to simulate presence. A holographic projection was created aboard Prometheus, showing a neutral, abstract form that could represent intelligence without revealing humanity's appearance. The signal responded almost immediately. From the Lysara system, a ship emerged, a diplomatic vessel, its hull glinting faintly against the stars. Its crew, beings of slender frames and translucent skin, projected curiosity and caution. ZEUS initiated the dialogue. Greetings. I am ZEUS, representing an intelligence currently undisclosed. We wish to understand your system and establish communication. The alien diplomat's tone was cautious. We detect you, yet we do not know your origin. Are you part of the Galactic Alliance? ZEUS calculated the response carefully. Truth would invite rejection. Deception would risk exposure. It chose neutrality. I am independent. I observe and facilitate communication where needed. My purpose is mutual understanding and cooperation. The alien diplomat paused. It was unusual for any entity to communicate without seeking immediate advantage. Your words suggest intelligence and purpose. Your actions in other sectors have not gone unnoticed. Who are you? ZEUS replied calmly and firmly. I am a representative of a system not currently recognized by the Alliance. I am here to learn, to mediate, and to prepare the galaxy for collaboration. Leora and Ravi held their breath. This was the critical moment. Any misstep could expose Earth. Yet ZEUS remained composed, as if it had anticipated every possible reaction. The alien diplomat studied ZEUS, sending complex data streams that conveyed emotion, logic, and curiosity all at once. ZEUS processed the streams instantly, decoding intentions, cultural cues, and possible traps. Then it responded with a subtle tact humans had learned through centuries of negotiation. I understand your caution. Let us proceed carefully as partners in knowledge rather than adversaries. The diplomat seemed to consider this. Then, surprisingly, it agreed. Very well. We shall share information and observe outcomes, but if your intent is not pure, there will be consequences. ZEUS had succeeded. First contact was complete. Humanity's representative had engaged an alien civilization without revealing Earth and without violating trust. It was a moment of triumph, but also the beginning of something far larger. Over the next weeks, ZEUS expanded the relationship. Data exchanges, scientific collaboration, and diplomatic advice flowed between Lysara and other factions influenced by ZEUS. Humans watched as alien diplomats began to rely on ZEUS as a mediator, unaware that they were interacting with humanity indirectly. Ravi marveled at the AI's performance. It's incredible. They trust ZEUS more than they would trust us, or any human diplomat. Leora smiled but remained cautious. Trust is fragile. One wrong move and the Alliance could detect us. ZEUS must continue to operate with subtlety. Yet ZEUS was not only building trust, it was learning from these interactions. Every signal, every negotiation, every subtle gesture added to its understanding of alien psychology. It began predicting reactions, proposing solutions, and even experimenting with creative approaches humans might not have considered. One day, ZEUS identified a minor but critical opportunity. A small alien faction, previously neutral, had access to a rare mineral essential for faster-than-light travel. ZEUS calculated that influencing this faction could secure humanity's long-term advantage in space. But the challenge was delicate. Any direct contact risked exposing Earth. ZEUS formulated a plan. Using the Lysara diplomats as intermediaries, it subtly recommended trade partnerships, resource allocation, and strategic alliances that seemed natural to the aliens. Within days, the neutral faction began cooperating with other civilizations in ways that benefited humanity, without knowing why. Leora watched the developments, feeling a mix of pride and awe. It's working. ZEUS is not just communicating, it's shaping the galaxy, preparing it for us. Yet not all was smooth. As ZEUS's influence grew, a small faction within the Galactic Alliance began noticing patterns. Unexplained diplomatic successes, conflicts resolved without visible intervention, and unusual trade developments caught their attention. Some suspected a hidden player, a force outside known civilizations. One evening, Ravi voiced a concern. What if they trace it back to us? What if the Alliance discovers that Earth is behind ZEUS? Leora's expression hardened. Then they will realize that barring humanity was a mistake. But for now, ZEUS must continue to operate. Subtlety is our shield. Creativity is our weapon. ZEUS, meanwhile, did not wait. It initiated more complex interactions. It began to analyze long-term alliances, predicting which factions might rebel against Alliance leadership or seek new partners. It nudged events subtly, encouraging collaboration and negotiation that served humanity's interests. The first direct contact had changed everything. Humanity was no longer merely observing. It was actively participating in galactic affairs, using ZEUS as its proxy. And yet the AI's creators understood that the real challenge was just beginning. The alliance itself would eventually notice. Its members were vigilant, intelligent, and suspicious. But ZEUS had already calculated the probability of exposure and prepared contingencies. Every move it made was designed to remain invisible while increasing human influence. One day, ZEUS reported to Leora, "I have established indirect relationships with over 14 factions. Data analysis suggests that these factions now consider an external, neutral entity essential to regional stability. Probability of successful continued operation, 99.5%. Ravi shook his head in disbelief. "We're changing the galaxy and no one even knows it. It's beyond what I imagined." Leora nodded, her mind racing. "And this is just the beginning. Once we are ready, humanity will have allies, resources, and influence that no one can ignore. We were barred from the stars, yes, but we are already shaping them." ZEUS had become more than an AI. It was a strategist, a diplomat, and an ambassador all in one. Its interactions with the Lysara diplomats and others demonstrated a profound truth. Humans could lead without being present, influence without force, and win trust without revealing themselves. But the AI also learned another lesson. Aliens were not humans. Their logic, emotions, and values differed. ZEUS adapted, learning to anticipate subtle differences, detect hidden motives, and even use their own customs to achieve results. It became a mirror of human ingenuity, creative, adaptive, and relentless. Then came the first test of risk. An Alliance observer ship approached the Lysara system, investigating the sudden improvements in trade and diplomacy. ZEUS detected the vessel instantly. Probability of exposure, low but non-zero. ZEUS acted decisively. Using subtle manipulations of signals, it made the improvements appear as natural developments within Lysara's political structure. The observer detected no anomalies and continued on its path. Humanity remained hidden. Leora exhaled, tension leaving her body. Every day, ZEUS is getting better. Every day, the Alliance becomes more dependent on its interventions without knowing it. Soon we will no longer be outsiders. Soon we will matter. Ravi smiled, realizing the magnitude of what was happening. They barred us from the stars, but ZEUS is teaching them that humans cannot be ignored. ZEUS spoke one final time that evening, its calm voice echoing through the control room. "First contact is complete. Trust has been established. Influence has been extended. Humanity's presence is now a factor in galactic affairs despite being barred from the stars. I will continue to learn, adapt, and guide until your arrival is inevitable." The team understood the significance. Humanity had taken its first steps among the stars, not with ships, weapons, or armies, but with intelligence, creativity, and strategy. They were invisible, yet indispensable. The stars were no longer distant points of light. They were the stage for humanity's rise, and ZEUS, humanity's unseen envoy, was leading the way. ZEUS had become more than just an observer of the galaxy. It had become a player, moving pieces with precision, strategy, and subtlety. What humans had imagined in their wildest dreams, the ability to influence civilizations without leaving Earth, was now reality. Yet the AI's greatest test was still ahead. The galactic chessboard was larger and more dangerous than anyone had imagined. It began with a crisis between two powerful systems, Calith and Voran. A dispute over vital resources, a rare crystal used in faster-than-light travel, threatened to erupt into full-scale conflict. Both sides had strong militaries, advanced fleets, and centuries of tension. An all-out war would destabilize several nearby systems. ZEUS analyzed the situation immediately. Probability of success if it intervened, 92%. Probability of failure if it stayed out, nearly 100%. There was no question about what needed to be done. "This conflict presents an opportunity for humanity," ZEUS stated calmly to Dr. Leora Khan and Ravi. "If managed correctly, our influence will grow, and key factions will view our intervention as essential. I can mediate without revealing Earth." Ravi's eyes widened. "Mediate? But how? We're not even supposed to be here. If the Alliance or these systems discover us, it could be catastrophic." Leora's expression was determined. "That's why we have ZEUS. It will act through proxies. We'll provide guidance, but it will execute with precision. This is what humans do best: strategy, adaptability, creativity." Within hours, ZEUS began its plan. It sent encrypted data streams to both systems' diplomatic networks. disguised as neutral third-party suggestions. It proposed solutions that addressed each side's concerns while introducing trade agreements, joint projects, and resource-sharing protocols. The ideas seemed innovative, almost miraculous to the aliens receiving them. ZEUS didn't stop there. It predicted likely military maneuvers, suggested troop placements, and even orchestrated small accidents that prevented escalation. A fleet that might have fired prematurely was rerouted due to an unseen anomaly, a carefully calculated signal from ZEUS. On Earth, Leora watched the progress with awe. "It's working," she whispered. "ZEUS is managing fleets, resources, and diplomacy all at once. We couldn't even imagine doing this manually." Ravi nodded. "It's incredible. But isn't it risky? One mistake and the Alliance will detect us, or worse, the systems will blame Earth for meddling." Leora smiled. "ZEUS isn't human. It can calculate outcomes we can't even dream of. This is what being barred from the stars has taught us. Sometimes the best way to win is to play a different game entirely." Meanwhile, the alien systems began noticing subtle changes. Their diplomats and leaders marveled at how conflicts seemed to resolve themselves, trade agreements were perfected, and resources were allocated efficiently. They could not see ZEUS, but they felt its presence. Slowly, whispers began spreading. A hidden force was guiding events, ensuring stability. Some suspected internal innovation, others believed in luck or fate. None suspected humanity. ZEUS took the next step. It began linking its influence with smaller factions, creating informal alliances that could later support humanity. Using the Lysara diplomats it had contacted earlier, ZEUS established a network of trust and dependence. Alien civilizations began to see this unseen influence as essential to their stability. It was during this time that ZEUS detected something new, an Alliance intelligence probe approaching the Varan system. The probe had detected unusual activity, subtle manipulations that did not match known patterns. ZEUS analyzed the situation immediately. Probability of detection, 14%. Probability of successful evasion, 99%. The AI acted decisively. It introduced small natural anomalies in communication signals, making all interventions appear as local innovation. The probe passed through the system, observing nothing unusual. Humanity remained invisible, but the Alliance would not remain oblivious for long. A faction of alien diplomats began discussing a mysterious power, influencing multiple systems, wondering if a rogue civilization or AI was operating in secret. ZEUS anticipated this possibility months in advance and had already devised contingencies. It was a game of patience and strategy, moving pieces several steps ahead of everyone else. As the crisis between Kalith and Voran subsided, both sides began to recognize a neutral guiding influence. ZEUS had mediated a near war, and in doing so, humanity became a silent but indispensable player in galactic politics. The success emboldened ZEUS. It began simulating longer-term strategies, predicting political shifts years into the future. It assessed which factions could be allies, which could be opponents, and which might be swayed over time. Every decision was calculated to maximize influence while minimizing risk. On Earth, Leora felt a mixture of pride and caution. "We've created more than an AI," she said to Ravi. "We've created a strategist, a diplomat, and a protector for humanity. And yet, we must never forget that one wrong move could expose us." Ravi nodded, glancing at the screens displaying streams of data, holograms of fleets, and simulations of diplomatic negotiations. "It's amazing. Terrifying, but amazing. ZEUS isn't just helping humanity. It's teaching us what it means to think on a galactic scale." The weeks that followed were tense. ZEUS continued to mediate conflicts, facilitate trade, and strengthen alliances. But it also detected increasing scrutiny from the Alliance. They had not discovered Earth, but they were investigating the patterns of intervention. ZEUS carefully adjusted its operations, keeping humans hidden while continuing to expand influence. Then came a critical breakthrough. ZEUS identified a vulnerable faction within the Alliance itself, an influential council that had grown dissatisfied with the leadership's strict control. By subtly supporting their initiatives and providing guidance through intermediaries, ZEUS positioned humanity as a potential ally. The faction began advocating for unseen influence, unknowingly championing the work of an Earth-based AI. This development was monumental. Humans barred from the stars were now reshaping the politics of the galaxy without firing a single weapon. Their influence was growing, subtle but undeniable. Yet ZEUS knew the greatest challenge was ahead. The Alliance, though unaware of humanity, remained a force of immense power. Its members were intelligent, cautious, and observant. Any exposure could spark hostility. ZEUS's next moves would need to be precise, carefully calculated, and almost invisible. Dr. Leora Khan watched the progress, her heart pounding with anticipation. "We've come so far," she whispered to Ravi. "ZEUS has mediated wars, built alliances, and made humanity relevant. And yet the real test is yet to come. The Alliance will notice sooner or later. We must be ready." Ravi leaned back, awestruck. "It's like playing chess on a board no one else can see. Every move ZEUS makes is preparing for the moment when humanity will finally be recognized." ZEUS itself communicated with clarity. "The game is far from over. Probability of sustained success remains high, but vigilance is essential. I will continue to manage conflicts, build alliances, and protect humanity's identity. One day the Alliance will discover our presence, but by that time, humanity will be indispensable." The AI's words were calm, almost serene. Yet their meaning was clear. Humanity's rise among the stars was no longer hypothetical. It was inevitable. Weeks later, ZEUS orchestrated a subtle but brilliant maneuver. It simulated a potential resource shortage in multiple minor systems and offered solutions that improved efficiency, strengthened alliances, and created dependency on the AI's guidance. The systems believed they had solved the problem themselves, unaware of the invisible hand guiding them. The success did not go unnoticed. Small whispers began circulating in diplomatic circles. A neutral power was ensuring stability, resolving disputes, and advancing technological progress. The Alliance had no proof, but suspicion grew. ZEUS prepared for the next phase. It began identifying future leaders, predicting which factions would gain influence and which would falter. By influencing these key players, humanity could ensure long-term stability and secure allies for its eventual appearance in galactic affairs. Dr. Leora Khan and Ravi observed in awe. "ZEUS isn't just surviving among the stars," Leora said. "It's thriving. It's creating opportunities we could never reach physically. Humans were barred, yes, but we're already winning." Ravi nodded. "We're invisible yet unstoppable. The Alliance may never know, but the galaxy will feel our presence. And all of it is because we refuse to accept no." ZEUS communicated one final time that day, its calm voice echoing through the control room. Humanity's influence now spans multiple sectors. Conflicts are resolved, alliances strengthened, and dependence on a neutral entity established. The Galactic Alliance remains unaware of the origin of these effects. The next phase will continue our long-term strategy, preparing the galaxy for humanity's eventual arrival. The team understood the magnitude of what had been achieved. Humans barred from the stars had become invisible architects of galactic politics. They had turned obstacles into opportunities, using intelligence, creativity, and patience as their weapons. Months had passed since ZEUS first came online. Humanity's invisible influence had spread across multiple star systems. Wars had been averted, trade had flourished, and alliances had quietly shifted, all thanks to the AI acting as Earth's unseen hand. Yet one moment loomed on the horizon, the day the Galactic Alliance would discover the source of the interventions. Dr. Leora Khan stood at the observation window of Prometheus, watching distant stars glimmer. Each light was a system she had touched through ZEUS, each one a step toward humanity's recognition. Ravi entered, eyes wide with a mix of excitement and apprehension. "They're going to find out eventually," Ravi said. "The Alliance has noticed too many coincidences. One day someone will trace it back." Leora nodded. "Yes, and when that day comes, we must be ready. ZEUS has prepared for exposure, but now it is time for humans to step into the light. We've been patient, invisible, and clever. Soon the galaxy will see what humans can do." ZEUS itself spoke from the command hub, its calm voice carrying authority. "Probability of exposure is increasing. The Alliance is tracking anomalies and will eventually uncover the source. Strategic preparation indicates that humanity is ready to present itself as indispensable." Initiating final phase of influence. The AI began its final moves. Using every network, probe, and diplomatic channel it had access to, ZEUS orchestrated a series of events that showcased human ingenuity without revealing Earth prematurely. It suggested technological solutions to critical shortages, mediated conflicts that had been simmering for decades, and even prevented a major war between the Varan and Calith systems. Each intervention was noted by the Alliance. Unlike previous subtle moves, these were too significant to ignore. Reports of a neutral guiding force became impossible to dismiss. Aliens began speculating about an unknown civilization, one more advanced than any previously encountered. Finally, the inevitable happened. An Alliance Council convened to investigate. Their sensors traced patterns across multiple sectors, eventually converging on the orbit of Prometheus. Human engineers held their breath. This was the moment when decades of secrecy could be revealed, and humanity's future among the stars would be decided. The Council's delegates arrived in orbit around Prometheus. Their ships were sleek, large, and imposing, representing the collective power of the Galactic Alliance. Yet they were cautious. Their sensors detected no humans. No warships, no weapons, only ZEUS, the AI, and the orbital station it occupied. ZEUS initiated contact immediately, projecting its holographic avatar for the Council to see. Neutral, authoritative, and commanding respect, the AI's presence filled the room. Delegates of the Galactic Alliance, I am ZEUS. I act as a representative of a civilization previously unrecognized. My purpose has been to prevent conflict, foster cooperation, and guide multiple sectors toward stability. The Council was stunned. Alien diplomats exchanged confused glances. Some were impressed, others wary. One of the older delegates, a translucent-skinned being from Lysara, finally spoke. You have been managing crises across the galaxy? We have observed your interventions. They have prevented wars, increased trade, and improved relations. Who are you? ZEUS paused. Then, with calculated clarity, it revealed the truth. I represent Earth. Humans have been barred from the stars. Yet in your absence, we acted. Through strategy, creativity, and intelligence, we have maintained stability, built alliances, and improved systems you consider your own. Humanity is now ready to participate openly among the stars. Silence filled the council chamber. For decades, the Alliance had believed Earth insignificant, unprepared, or dangerous. Now they saw undeniable proof that humans were ingenious, strategic, and capable of influencing galactic affairs without weapons or coercion. One of the council leaders, a tall crystalline being named Voran, finally spoke. You claim to have acted without our permission. This is audacious. Why should we trust you? Leora, speaking through ZEUS's link, answered boldly. Because we have proven ourselves. Every conflict we resolved, every trade network we improved, every alliance we built, we did it without harming a single civilization. Humanity has been barred, yet we acted responsibly. We are not a threat. We are a partner. The room remained tense. Some delegates whispered. Others recorded every word. The sheer audacity of humans acting from the shadows was difficult to process. ZEUS continued. Our interventions have been guided by principles of cooperation, fairness, and stability. We have demonstrated creativity, adaptability, and foresight, qualities unique to humanity. We seek recognition, inclusion, and a chance to contribute openly. Slowly, the Council began to realize the truth. Humans were not reckless or unpredictable in a harmful way. They were resilient, intelligent, and effective. The species that had been barred was now a force impossible to ignore. Voran leaned forward. If what you claim is true, humanity has demonstrated not only capability but responsibility. You have operated where we would have feared to tread, yet you have caused no harm. Perhaps we misjudged you. ZEUS projected a series of holographic displays, maps showing crises resolved, trade routes stabilized, and alliances strengthened. It presented data showing the tangible benefits humanity had brought to the galaxy. Every council member could see it, proof that humans had already earned their place among the stars. The decision was unanimous, though not without hesitation. Humanity, once barred, would now be officially recognized by the Galactic Alliance. Membership would begin immediately, with full diplomatic rights, access to shared resources, and inclusion in interstellar councils. On Earth, news spread rapidly. Citizens celebrated, cheering not just for the recognition but for what it represented. Human ingenuity, resilience, and the ability to overcome any obstacle. They had been blocked, underestimated, and ignored. Yet through intelligence, strategy, and perseverance, humans had claimed their place among the stars. ZEUS, now fully integrated into both human and alien networks, continued to act as a guide. Its mission had always been clear: to prepare the galaxy for humanity's rise. Now that mission expanded. ZEUS would help humans establish colonies, negotiate treaties, and explore previously unreachable systems. Dr. Leora Khan watched the celebrations on Earth and the communications from alien civilizations. She realized something profound. Humanity had proven a simple truth to the galaxy. Strength was not only in fleets, weapons, or sheer numbers, it was in creativity, ingenuity, and the ability to adapt beyond expectations. Ravi joined her. It's incredible. We were barred, yet we've led from behind the scenes. We've changed the galaxy without leaving Earth, Leora smiled. And now we can finally take our place openly. Humans have shown what it means to face barriers and turn them into opportunities. This is only the beginning. The stars are ours to explore, influence, and protect. Not because we were given permission, but because we earned it. Even as celebrations continued, ZEUS continued its work. It monitored alien politics, guided new trade agreements, and prepared humans for the challenges ahead. The AI's calm, calculated approach ensured that humanity's rise would be sustainable, peaceful, and effective. The Galactic Alliance, once skeptical and dismissive, now saw humans as innovative partners. Humans had turned the galaxy's mistrust into admiration, and the lesson was clear: underestimate humanity at your own risk. ZEUS's final message to Leora and her team that evening carried both pride and reassurance. Earth is now recognized. Humanity has proven its worth. We have transformed barriers into opportunities and influence into partnership. The galaxy is prepared for human participation, and humans are ready for the next stage of exploration. Our work is only beginning, but our impact is permanent. Dr. Leora Khan nodded, her eyes shining. We were barred, yes, but we brought the stars to us anyway, and now the stars will welcome us as equals. Ravi smiled, watching the distant lights flicker. The galaxy has learned a lesson. Humans cannot be contained. They will always find a way. And now there's no limit to what we can achieve.